obviously very excited to have you to talk a little bit about both Tatakai Tuesday and yourself. I was super, super thrilled to get to attend Tatakai Tuesday when I visited Japan, which was absolutely awesome. It was such a great event with so many really sick fighting games. So
Yeah, it was cool to have you.
but before we even start asking about the tournament, just tell those out there a little bit about yourself. You know, what if someone finds Mothman on the hell that is Twitter, what could they know about you?
I'm Mothman, or Riley. Kind of weird introducing myself by tag. I'm still not super used to it. Um, from Los Angeles, I moved to Tokyo about 3, 4 years ago. And I run Guilty Gear Strive and Vampire Savior at Tatakai Tuesday, which is a local event that we hold out in Nakano. It's every Tuesday by the name. Um, and we run a variety of different fighting games there. But outside of that, I um, play music, do some art stuff, got a lot of other stuff going on too.
Well, how did you get started with hosting Strive and Vampire Survivors at Tatakai Tuesday?
So I started going to Tatakai Tuesday when I first came to Japan. It was before I even had an apartment. I was for a short period of time I was like living out of a hotel while like paperwork was getting settled. Um and I was watching one of Juna's streams from the hotel cuz it's like I'd been in Tokyo for less than a week at that point probably. I didn't know anybody, so I was just like watching the stream from the hotel room, and he was like, "Come to Tatakai," or it wasn't even called Tatakai Tuesday; it was called Fighting Tuesday at the time. But he's like, "Come to Fighting Tuesdays. You know, we hold this event every week or every other week. It wasn't weekly at the time either." And so I went and met a bunch of cool people. I started going regularly, and eventually one of my friends, the staff, had to miss for a long time. He wasn't going to be able to work at Tatakai. And so I talked with Bueno and Cal, who were also working staff at the time. The whole setup was completely different back then. It was mostly Giuna in charge of things, and then a couple of staff members who would like set up before he got there. Um, and so I talked with them, and I was like, "Hey, I can show up and I can help, and I can do all this stuff, uh, and help you guys get set up." And they're like, "Yeah, sure, we need hands. Come on and help." And so Bueno, who's kind of a mentor for me, he taught me how to do all this stuff, all the set up all the audio and video in the venue, how to work a stream, how to work OBS. And over time, I kind of just got more and more responsibility. Then when Juna was having his kid, he ended up being gone for a while, and he put me in charge of his stream and in charge of running Tatakai Tuesday for the time being. And so it kind of just built up from there, and then there was like a reinvention. Things kind of split off. It was no longer an event more about just one game because it used to just be whatever the biggest game was at the time. It was Strive for a while, then it was Street Fighter 6. And then it splintered off into everyone kind of having a section of the venue to run what they wanted.
So tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds
It's,
like hosting Tatakai was like your first time really hosting a local, which is insane. Like how what was that like getting into that? Because I've never been able to run like tech or actually stream run a local, so I can only imagine the difficulties you might encounter doing that.
so I got into fighting games originally during COVID. I used to play Smash Bros like right before COVID, and I would go and compete in tournaments. And then lockdown, Smash Online's terrible. I was like, I can't play this game anymore. Um, and most of what I played it with was just going to my friend's house, anyways. And so I couldn't do that anymore. And so I ended up finding, shoot, I can't remember who it was who posted it, but someone posted a video about Guilty Gear, about why they love it so much. And I watched it and I was like, this game looks sick. And so I bought Exerd like the next day and started playing it. Ended up buying, actually, it's right here. Ugh, buying this off my friend, his used stick,
Yo.
and yeah, just yeah, went from there. And so I didn't get to experience any offlines or any locals while living in the States, um, and definitely didn't get to host any. So it was just kind of like a happen chance thing. I put myself in the position to be like, hey, call on me if you need help. They needed help. And luckily, Bueno was there to kind of teach me everything along the way. Um, the original stream setup we had for Tatakai was a nightmare to get working. It was all dated technology and miles of cables and plugging into converter after converter after converter. And to have all of that memorized and be able to like set that up every week was really, really tough. Um, and yeah, my first week going solo after Giuna left was like really hard because every system in the venue, there was a big character update for Strive at the time, I think. Every system in the venue needed to be updated. I needed to set up the stream setup. I needed to do everything else, set up chairs. It was really, really tough.
Geez, so they threw you. I mean, I say they threw you. You got thrown right into the deep end your first week. God, man, with the character update, that's never easy. Oh my god. So, like,
Yeah,
how is
yeah.
Strive in particular grown, or and Vampire Survivors too? Actually, how have you seen them both grow since Tatakai became like, the several different fighting games going on as opposed to just whatever's popular?
Well, Vampire Savior is like a newer thing that we're doing. I got into the game recently,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to run Beyblade at Tatakai Tuesday. Um,
That's
and
awesome.
the person who ran Beyblade moved moved out of Japan, so that spot was empty. And I was just like, hey, we were using it for Exert actually, and we're still using it for Exert. I share the space, but I was like, hey, can I run Vampire Savior? Like, I want to play it more. I usually play it at the arcades, but I was like, I want to play it on Tuesdays while I'm here. So we got that set up, and it's still pretty small. We've only had it running for 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, something like that. But a lot of people are coming and trying it out, so that's cool. But Strive is a bit of an odd case because when we started, at least when I started coming to Tatakai, it was the main game, and that was when Giuna was still um, kind of doing everything. So he has a lot of draw with his stream and kind of star power, I guess. So we would have like a ton of people coming. It was super busy. If you remember where we were set up for
Mm-hmm.
Strive while you were there, that whole half of the venue and the big screen was all Guilty Gear. We had, I think we came close to hitting cap like every week on the tournament. Then when it started shifting to Street Fighter, and we started having like Juno wasn't coming anymore, the event kind of dwindled down for a while. It got a lot smaller. Um, and we started having like not a lot of entrants, not a lot of people coming. And then over time we kind of built it back up again, and now we have a good 20 or more people coming every week for Strive. So it's been kind of a roller coaster to do.
I mean, that's incredibly impressive, having like building back up and getting those 20 people. I know, like, one of the locals that I love going to here in New York, if we get 20, that's like a good local, and that's a monthly local. So being able to support that weekly is incredible. That's really sick. Especially with how, I mean, it was incredibly well run when I was there. Everything that you guys got going is pretty incredible in that space, and that's one of the coolest spaces I've been in. So that it's insane that you guys can do that every week. That's so cool.
Yeah, like I said, it was pretty rough the first week that I was flying solo, but over time, everyone's kind of fallen into their roles, and I'm not alone in doing Strive. Um, I've got Sherwin, I've got Jasmine, I've got Anya. We have a lot of people who come and help. Um, but everyone kind of knows their role, and now it's just like a well-oiled machine. People show up, everything's like set up in a breeze. The events run quick and well and efficiently, and then we clean up quick and we're out on time every week. It's awesome.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Genuinely. Oh my god. The fact that you guys can set up and take down in time too. Good for you guys. I know so many TOs who cannot do that because it's just so damn hard. So good for you guys. That's incredible.
Everyone helps out. Like all the people who come just to play who aren't staff, like a lot of them will help with shutting down machines, putting them back where they got to go, putting monitors back. So it really is like a group and community effort to run it.
That's awesome. Like how many folks do you get that might be regulars versus how many folks, cuz I know like, at least from talking with folks, like, in my Discord and my community and in, like, the New York City Strive scene, a lot of folks talk about Tatakai Tuesday and how either they're planning on going when they go to Japan or how they went when they were there. So, um, is it a frequently rotating scene of players that you get, or is there a lot of returners? Like, what's the mix there?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. We have a solid group of people, at least for Strive, who are regulars. They're there week after week after week after week, which is exciting in its own right because I've watched some of these players grow for the last few years from being not very good, getting beat up in the tournaments to like hitting, top threes. Um, but also, we have a ton of people who are coming from abroad, which I think is really, really cool. I'm always getting new people every week from a different country who are like, I planned my whole trip around coming to this event. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, thank you. What an honor.
That's awesome. That's so sick. This is such an unrelated question, but in
Yeah.
a tournament, if what is your I this is so random. I don't know why this popped in my head, but what is your
Okay. Shoot.
ideal, not player-wise, but character-wise, your ideal character grand finals match in both Guilty Gear and Vampire Savior? For each game, what would your like match you want to see in terms of the two characters be?
Well, Vampire Savior, we don't run a tournament for. That's just free play. I don't have the ability to run two tournaments at the same time on
That would be a
opposite
lot.
ends of the venue. Um, yeah, so I kind of like set up Vampire Savior and let people play it, and then go do Strive, and then when I have free time, I go play Vampire Savior. Um, but for Strive, our local killer is Zell. He's a Potemkin player, so we kind of are always seeing Potemkin in the grand finals, and maybe his rival. I don't know if you could say that, but our other really strong player is Umebon, who's a ABBA player. So we see a lot of ABBA versus Pot in our grand finals. So kind of anything but that. I like to
That's
see some variety, some underrepresented characters. I like to see the low tiers win. I like to see the low tiers.
I fully agree with you. It's so fun seeing low tiers in a tournament, and I like at the time we're doing this with Strive, it's patch 4.5. I like how balanced the game feels right now, where it feels like a low tier could win a tournament if someone's good enough. But no surprise to see. I see it a lot here, a lot of ABBAs and Potemkins, especially after the god Potemkin that existed last patch. I'm not terribly
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely dominant character. And we have so many good Potemkin players in Tokyo too. Um, Maybe an unnatural amount. They were like playing Potemkin since pre-release. So buffed Potemkin is just like, oh boy, what a nightmare.
Yeah, we'll give him some armor, and then we'll remove his Karas. But it would be really funny if we gave him his Karas back, and then we
You
don't
just
touch
give
his
him
armor.
back, leave the armor. Oh man,
God
don't
bless.
get me started.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure my sources are correct on this one. You happen to be a Testament enjoyer. I think the correct term from folks that I've seen is part of the Testa cult. So, what drew you to Testament?
So I always pick my characters based on aesthetics before anything else. Um, I gotta like how the character looks. I gotta like their vibe. We'll figure out the gameplay stuff later. And that's kind of led to me playing low tiers in every game I play. Um, and Testament's not necessarily a low tier; they're pretty good, but that's just the pipeline, I guess. But I played Zato before. I played Zato from the beta up until Testament's release, and then saw them, and I was like, "This is so cool! I love their design. I love this character." Um, they're non-binary, and that was like a really cool thing for me. That felt exciting, and so I just felt like so drawn to them. It was like a total revival in how I felt about the game. I started grinding again and started playing a bunch. and just yeah, never really changed again.
Nice. Yeah, Testament is such a sick character. In terms of aesthetic design, Testament's definitely one of my favorites. I love everything they got going for them. It's such a neat design. I think they nailed pretty much all the character designs with
For sure,
Testament.
for
Man.
sure.
On the same
Yeah,
one, do you
yeah.
have
I
a
cosplayed as Testament for my first Evo Japan.
Wait, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was so funny. I wore these insane chunky, like high-heeled platform boots. Um, and I had a friend who lives down the street from me do like leather work on this Shein skirt I bought to like put the buckles on it, and um it was a whole thing. I had the wig, the hat, and I showed up to Evo Japan, and all of my friends, like I walked up to their group and they didn't know it was me. It was so funny.
That is so
I was
awesome.
wearing all that on the train too. I
Oh
was wearing the
man.
whole setup on the train, carrying my stick, running late to like the 8 a.m. bracket that I had for Strive. I got to the venue, I was like covered in sweat. Someone's like, "Oh my god, can I take a picture of you?" I was like, "Find me later today. I got to get to my game. I need to go like wash my face and then get to my game."
Yeah, that is so awesome. That's so sick.
Yeah,
Do
you can
you
find pictures on Twitter if you scroll back far enough.
I will definitely take a look now. Is cosplay something you like to do, or is this kind of something more infrequent?
I guess that wasn't my first cosplay. It is pretty infrequent. I did probably my very first one was I cosplayed as Yoko Taro, um, the director of Nier Automata,
That's sick.
for Comic Con, um, in I want to say 2017. It was the summer after I graduated high school. So
Wow.
I kind of got some high school friends together, and um, they all helped me on this art project, basically to make that Emil head globe thing that he wears. And it came out like perfect. It's like identical. It's so cool. Could not see anything out of it at all because I was literally wearing a globe. I went to a Goodwill and bought a globe, and cut a hole big enough for my head in it, and then we did like some 3D putty, epoxy sculpt on it for all the details, and then painted it so I could only see through like the tiny slit in the smile. Wearing a hoodie and a scarf and that head in the summertime in San Diego. I'm like sweating, can't see anything. And it is just like so much fun. I do really, really enjoy cosplaying. I think it's a blast, but I don't have the time to like put together a costume and maintain it.
That is so cool. That is insane dedication. That's sick as hell. That's awesome.
Yeah, cosplayers have like crazy, crazy dedication. Showing up to events are already like exhausting and overstimulating as is, and to be wearing like a pound of makeup and some all that elaborate clothing, and there's always malfunctions, buttons are coming off, things are ripping, like it is so difficult. I have so much respect for cosplayers. I think they're the coolest.
If theoretically you were able to do a dream cosplay. I know you mentioned you did Testament, which could still be a valid answer here too, but if you could do a cosplay of any character, doesn't have to be Strive, from whatever you wanted, what do you think it would be?
I would love to do something that's crazy extravagant and difficult, like like Samus's Various suit or something would be really cool. Or I saw someone going around a convention recently on Twitter, and they were like the prince from Katamari, and they had like a giant blow up Katamari that they were like rolling around the venue. I think that that's really fun. I would love to do something like that.
That's pretty sick. That's really cool. I guess kind of a fun question. I know we talked a lot about Tatakai, but have you had the opportunity to go to other fighting game tournaments, whether in Tokyo, other parts of Japan, like Evo Japan or something? Like, have you been able to check out those other events?
Yeah, so I've been to Arc Revo. I've been to We have an event in Osaka called YY Thanks Strive, which that one I'd like to talk about. That event's really cool. Um, I go frequently to various tournaments at the arcade for Vampire Savior. They have like a monthly beginners tournament at Mikado in Ikebukuro, um, and various other tournaments at other events or other venues. And yeah, I've been to a handful of like little local events here and there, and I got the chance to go to one in LA while I was visiting last summer. So I've been to a few, and out of all of them, I got to say like YY is probably the most fun of them. The one in Osaka, it is a first to one single elimination 3v3 team tournament, and it's just like pure chaos.
That is awesome. So how is does it use, I assume, team of 3, like the actual team of 3 game mode, right?
3 people, you get
Mhm.
yourself a team of 3, um, and then you're 3 versus their 3. First person wins, and they're out, and then the next person goes and they're out, and it's whichever team eliminates all their people first. So you only have one game to play on your team unless you win. Then you can sweep their whole team on your own, or um yeah, so you have like two of your friends behind you just like screaming at you. They're like, why didn't you take that throw? Why did you could have killed, you had meter, just like screaming in your ear. It's hilarious. It's so much fun, and they have like a really really great like grassroots artist alley at that event too, so you can buy all sorts of like stickers and pins. And that's oh my god, this thing is so heavy. That's where these came from.
That is awesome. Damn, so it's like a tournament that's like all
Yeah, it's a
mini
really
crew
cool event.
battles. That's so cool. What a neat idea. What would be
Mhm.
your I it doesn't,
Mhm.
again, not to you don't have to call out any players or anything, but what would your ideal team comp be, if not like specific player characters on a team that you think could possibly go far in the tournament?
I mean, if I wanted to go really far in the tournament, I'd probably go and grab all the strongest players from Tatakai. Call up Leo. Uh, I think the most fun part of that is just hanging out with your friends. So the people I went with is Sherwin and Zega. He's the one who I co-commentate with for Tatakai. He used to live in Tokyo and would come every week to Tatakai, and then ended up moving to Shiga, which is a a small prefecture near Kyoto. He lives in like a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, just all rice fields. It's pretty awesome. And so we call him up for Tatakai every week because he's a much better commentator than me. So it was him and Sherwin, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much my dream team comp right there. It was so much fun playing with those guys.
How frequently is YY? Is that like a monthly? Is it once a year, or how often do they host that?
It is I want to say twice a year, but not completely regularly. Um there was a pretty long break. They might have gone like a whole year without doing one. And I think the most recent one was while you were here. It might have been like the weekend you left.
Yeah, I remember seeing I forget who it was. I saw a few Twitter posts about it. I think it was the Saturday I left. Which is a shame because I would have loved to go to that because that sounds like
Yeah.
that's a sick event. That's so cool. Now for going back to Tatakai, would there be
Okay.
any sort of like special type event that you would want to host, or maybe some special guests that you'd want to bring in or something like that for a tournament? um I don't know, any like, do you have any fun like dream idea for Tatakai that you'd like to bring in?
I don't know if I do. Um I think part of it being such a well-oiled machine is it's like a train. It's kind of hard to stop it. So it's hard to make a big change and be like, we're gonna do a special event this week. Um I'm pretty happy with the way it is right now, but I think if I had the power, and probably an Exerd night, just like one specific night where like we're doing Exerd instead, um, and see who shows up for that instead. Have all the strive setups be Exerd. I think that'd be really funny.
That would be pretty sick. Exert is such a cool
I
game.
really love Exerd.
Yeah, as a
And I've had friends who are like, "Tell me when Tatakai is doing Exerd, I will travel up from Osaka, or I'll travel up from Kyoto."
damn that Elfelt is so funny. My love of that game is because of the war crimes I can commit.
Nightmare character.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, nightmare character.
She's paying for her sins in that game, and she will always pay because she deserves to. Because holy moly, oh my god, such a fun game.
Yeah, so much fun. Exerd is so close to my heart. That is the whole reason why I'm into fighting games, is because of Exerd.
Do you play Zato in Exerd?
Well, maybe not. Maybe not the full reason, but it's a. I do not. I do not. I play Jacko.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, she's also a nightmare character. I would get all sorts of hate mail in my Steam inbox from playing that online.
Oh man, that it's too funny. You gotta love it. Exert kind of has a lot of nightmare
Yeah.
characters, I think. Like Elfelt is insane, but then you have to fight a Johnny in bracket, and you realize, oh no, this is also bad.
Yeah. Yeah. My first Exerd tournament that I guess my only Exerd tournament that I did well in, I made it to grand finals and I had to play against Ramlethal, and I was like, what do I like? What does this character do? How? There's like swords hitting me from every angle, and I don't know how to handle this. I was like clearing the bracket so well, and then I got to that last game, and it was just like a massacre. It was horrible. Watch the stream until that last match, and then you can just turn it off. Just turn it off.
Well, talking about you now, just a little bit about you. What brought you to
Okay,
Tokyo originally?
kind of a long story, I guess. Um, it was a kind of unplanned. Um, I originally wasn't. I didn't have any plans for Japan at all. But in my freshman year of college, the Japanese class was the only open class that I could join. I went around from class to class trying to find who would take me in because I've spent too long on. Well, I dropped out of a class and then it was like right at the deadline to re-add for the semester. And so I went. I was like, "Do you have any open seats?" And the Japanese class took me, and I ended up meeting like my best friend there, and just had so much fun with it. I kept taking Japanese, and then was like, "Yeah, I'll go to Tokyo." I applied for the JET program, and yeah, originally I was planning to only be here for 3 years, but I'm set to be here for 5 now.
Nice. Jet program. Where did they assign you to Tokyo? Did they assign you elsewhere? Where did you end up teaching?
They assigned me to Tokyo, yeah, which is pretty uncommon. You're when you fill out the forms, you get to say like where you want to be sent, and I put that I wanted to be sent to Yamanashi, which is
Mm.
it's the prefecture next to Tokyo, but it's kind of just nothing. It's right at the base of Mount Fuji, and it's all like little towns, and there's like one amusement park there. I was like, yeah, put me out there. I want to hike. I want to be in nature. I don't want to be around people. And they're like, you're going to Tokyo. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to Tokyo.
What was the biggest shock or surprise to you once you got to Tokyo?
Not sure. I'm not sure. I've been to Tokyo before. I visited during my freshman year of college with my friends who I made in that class, and one of my other friends from high school. So we did a trip in 2018. And so I think when I did come to move to Japan, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, I've been here before. I know this city. I know the trains. Wasn't too surprised, I guess. It's also been a few years now. I can't quite remember if I had any big culture shock moments.
What's your favorite part of
I've had,
Tokyo?
weirdly enough, culture shock going back to the States. I really like Koenji.
Mhm.
Koenji is the neighborhood next to Nakano, which is where
Mhm.
we host Tatakai. I just think it's a really cool place. I used to play with a band, and our studio was located in Koenji, and so I spent a lot of time. There's just a lot of cool shops, good thrifting, good food. It's a neat area. But I spend most of my free time outside of Tokyo. Actually, I like to go out to the countryside and stuff, get away from people.
That's awesome. I need to. I've already started making my list for what I want to do next time I go in, because I know when I was there, one of my favorite neighborhoods, which I went to several days, was Shimokitazawa. Same type of deal, because I like a lot of the music live houses. As someone who performs in a very small band here in the U.S., liked all that, and then all the thrift stores were awesome.
Yeah.
So I got to check out Koenji.
Yeah, Shimokitazawa. Shimokitazawa is really cool. I just like tripped myself on pronunciation there. I was just there yesterday. Actually, they have a really good. They have a really solid vegan scene in that area, which vegetarian and vegan food is like hard to find in Japan. So I'll go out there to get food kind of often, actually.
So you said it would Koenji be your? Is that your favorite neighborhood in Tokyo, or what might be your favorite neighborhoods in Tokyo?
Yeah, Koenji probably. I try to stay away from a lot of the downtown stuff now. It's just so many people. It's like too much. Trying to go like grocery shopping, trying to go to IKEA, and you're like pushing through a crowd of like a billion people in Shibuya, and you're like, all right, this is ridiculous. Everyone's taking videos of like the crosswalk, and you're like, all right, I get it, but I need to cross the street. So like quieter areas like Koenji I do really like, and Koenji's got, like I said, a really cool scene in there in general. Good restaurants, good people, and that's where Cube is, which is a really cool arcade, really cool old arcade that's been around for a while. They run Vampire every other Wednesday, like a free play out there, so I go for that. And I really like Ikebukuro, which is kind of my neighborhood. It's I guess it's the closest city to me. I take my bike out there pretty often, and they've got, again, a good arcade. They've got Mikado out there, and it's just kind of cool. It's like big city vibe, but a lot less people, easier to manage.
Ikebukuro is really cool. Mikado was one of the places that I put down as somewhere that I needed to visit when I was in Tokyo, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to with such a sick arcade.
Yeah, it's a must visit spot for sure.
What would be your
And
favorite?
I think it's even better to go when they actually have an event.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm
They'll
sure
do
it would be. That'd be
specific
sick.
events for specific games on like certain days. So that's, if you can find which game you want to play and then figure out what day that event is, and that's like you're gonna get the best experience out of Mikado.
What are your favorite games to play in the arcades outside of? I'm sure Vampire Savior is there, but what are your favorite games whenever you go to an arcade?
Vampire Savior, for sure. I play a lot of that. But outside of that, I love like a classic like bullet hell style game. So I'll play like Dodonpachi, Toho Project. I love me some Metal Slug. I grew up playing that. The laundromat next to where I go with my dad had a Metal Slug arcade when I was a kid, so I'd play the cabinet there. And I'll play it over here all the time. So games like that, but mostly all my coins are going into Vampire Savior.
That's such a sick game. I gotta pick it up on Steam. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I guess all fighting games are, though.
Yeah. Although I think, it being an older game, right? That makes it a little bit more difficult. There's some wild mechanics in there.
There are some really strange mechanics. There's like some pretty major execution barriers just to like playing the game. And if you're playing with anyone who knows what they're doing at all, if you cannot hit those bare minimum execution barriers, you're just going to get torn apart. Mainly push block or guard cancel, I guess, too.
Oh man, gotta love all the fun technical things you gotta get a hold of. It's like telling a Strive player about burst and exart and watching them squirm because it's not full screen. Gotta love it.
Right. I mean, burst wasn't full screen in Strive either.
True.
Until semi recently.
All these young kids are
I kind of miss that.
They're so spoiled by their full screen burst. Shout out Happy
They'll never
Chaos.
experience what it feels like to get their their burst throne, steal the life from their eyes, and you grab them out of the air, and that burst meter's gone.
Now, with Strive 2.0 supposedly being around the corner, I wish I knew when this game was coming out, but what are like the big things that you'd be looking for in Strive 2.0 or, in a sequel to Guilty Gear Strive? I don't know.
My biggest things with Strive that have kind of pushed me into playing Vampire Savior instead is the damage and the health. I like to have a little bit more interactions in my game. And I don't think it feels great to like get your entire health bar wiped in 1 or 2 combos and just be like, okay, well that round is over. So I guess I shouldn't have gotten clipped by a 5p. So I'd like to see like that more standardized across the board and generally lowered. But also like new Gatling routes would be cool. Give me IKs back. Give me burst throws. Just give me Exert Rev 3 really.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I also heard
Yeah.
I heard something along the lines. I can't remember who I heard this from, but that maybe it was in an official post that they made. But that Wild Assault was one of the things they were looking to change, which is interesting. I don't. They've been messing with that since they added it. It's such a strange mechanic.
It is. I honestly really like Wild Assault as a mechanic. I think it's really cool. And it opens up like combo routes a lot more, which is always a good thing in my opinion. Um, it adds like more options. It's cool. I like that it costs your burst meter. I think that that's like a really fun thing to have to consider when you use it. And I like that it takes your opponent's burst meter too, because that can totally like mess with their game plan, and it just adds a whole nother layer of thinking on top. So I think Wild Assault's a great mechanic, and if they continue to tweak it and just make it better, then it's a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's like, it just feels like it's in a weird spot right now, because I liked. Maybe this is like where the real change needs to come in. Maybe I'm wrong on this. This is all obviously just theorizing, but it used to give positive bonus, which was really nice, and now it's kind of in a weird spot where White Wild Assault can still close the gap, which I like. I think the characters that have it, minus Bedman, because I've been abused by my friend who's a Bedman main, they can make good use of it. Blue Wild Assault is a little weird because you can use it in like combos, and it's not. It's just kind of even on block, so you're fine. And then Red Wild Assault's in a strange spot. I don't know what they need to do with it. I do agree though that I like the mechanic. I think it's a really cool idea. So I don't know what they're thinking, but it would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where they're going with the direction of it either. We'll figure it out when 2.0 drops, I guess. But as you know, I like it. I hope it stays, and I hope it functions well.
What characters would you like to see in 2.0 if they're going to add? I imagine we'll get a mix of new and returning characters, but
my picks. Well, we got Robokai teased, right? Which I think is cool. I want to see the Overture characters back. I like their designs a lot. I want to see Valentine, and I want to see. I think his name's Izuna. They would be so cool to have in 2.0, and I want to see Order Saul.
I fully agree with you on all those. Actually, Valentine would be like the biggest returner that I'd love to see. I'm sure they'd figure out some silly story way to bring her back.
So cool. Her design is incredible. Her design is one of my favorite Guilty Gear designs like ever, and she appears in the one game that like I don't really want to play.
Yeah, it's the fact that they made Happy Chaos technically a Valentine.
Maybe not the one game. There's a few Guilty Gear games that are weird.
Yeah. I just want to see her. It'd be so cool. Give us another Valentine.
I like them all, honestly. I think all their designs are great. I played Jacko. I played Ramlethal briefly during the beta. Never played Elfelt. Sorry, but I like her design. She's cool. And I like Happy Chaos. I like them all.
This is another kind of fun question that I always like to ask people.
Scary. I can't wreck. I don't know how to wreck a.
Elfelt's scary. Hold on. Now you've sidetracked me. She's like mid-tier at best. What do you mean she's scary? What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a few pretty solid LFL players at Tatakai. I don't know if you had a chance to play them while you were there, but they're like mixing me up with the Rekkas and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I only win if they never touch me. It's if I have to block LFL once, I'm like, okay, well this one's over. Next. Scary.
You have Testament 6P.
They made the 6P worse. They made the 6P worse. It used to be better.
Sure, but you
That's
still
what all the LFL players tell me. They're like, just 6P, just 6P, just 6P. I 6P, get counter hit, I get blown up. I'm in the mix, left, right, up, down, bomb vest on me. Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Man. Yeah.
I'm not good at mix up heavy characters and playing against them. It scrambles my brain.
That is totally fair. I forget, I am so bad at remembering names, but I did fight we did a very long mirror set, an Elfelt mirror, and that was a good time. That was a lot of fun. You know, in this wonderful realm of Strive, what is your favorite Guilty Gear theme? Doesn't have to be from Strive, but favorite could be a character theme, could just be a song. What is your top one?
It is probably. I really love Jacko's theme from Exerd. I know a lot of people are like, it's the tutorial theme. I can only associate it with the tutorial. I don't care. I like it. I think that one's great. I really like Justice's original theme from like Missing Link. That one's really cool. There's so many good ones. There's so many good ones. Django, the menu theme from Exerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, chills every time I hear it. Brings me right back. The first time loading up that game.
Man,
Yeah.
Exerd has so much
Soundtrack's so good.
personality.
And honestly, you know what? That's what I want to see in Strive 2.0. I want to see that back. Give me the character select screen with like fire in the background and chains everywhere and stuff. Make it corny.
Yeah.
I don't want this sleek, clean design anymore. Make it corny. Make it like 80s metal. I want to feel like I'm in a Megadeth music video.
Exactly. You know, something let there be shred. You know, I want it to be cheesy. It's awesome.
Exactly. I want it to be cheesy. That's a big thing that drew me to Guilty Gear as a series. I know we talked about it briefly when you were in town, but I grew up deeply as a metalhead. One of my first guitars was a Dave Mustaine Flying V. So when like seeing all the names of characters and moves and stuff and being like, I know that band, I know that album, I know that song, it was like so exciting. I think they kind of polished over that a little bit in Strive, and so I'd like to see it be cheesy 80s hair metal slop again.
I agree. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about it. I mean, all things considered though, they have still kept a lot of the naming being really cool. Like as someone whose favorite band is System of a Down, Gold Lewis being the Secretary of Absolute Defense and everything with him is really cool. And hey, we got Megadeth with Unica with her super being Super Megadeth Buster, which is kind of fun. So they're on the verge of getting back. We're so close.
We're so close. We're so close. I think it was a huge missed opportunity that Gold Lewis having a coffin with an alien in it didn't have a super called like Rust in Peace.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, but oh well.
Only so much we can do, I suppose. What's it like being someone who's queer living in Tokyo? What's that experience like?
I feel like my perspective on this is going to be not that exciting. I guess it's like I don't know. It's regular. It's cool. Um, there's really good queer spaces in Tokyo, which I don't really take that great of an advantage of. Honestly, I stay home a lot and I go to the countryside to play guitar. Um, I'm not spending a ton of time in the city, but there are those resources and those places that exist. Um, it's just I don't know. It's just life. It's cool. It's no one bothers you.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things that I found being in New York is the same type of thing as someone who's spent most of my life in the South in the US, but um is I know in the US generally the fighting game scene is seen as being incredibly inclusive, and honestly it can bring some really inclusive queer slash minority representation in a lot of places where that might not exist. Is there a similar type reputation in Japan in your experience, or is it, just kind of, I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of like the right way to word this. Is it more inclusive in like air quotes, or is it just kind of like, yeah, like just there? I don't know.
I think it has less of that reputation here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. Like we have queer people at Tatakai, and we have queer people in the scene for sure. Um, but it's not. I don't think it carries the same reputation. Like I feel like people see, especially Guilty Gear, as at least in the Strive era, as very much a queer game, and it brings a ton of queer people to the scene. Um, don't quite see the same thing here in Japan, but um, I don't know. I mean, I it's inclusive for sure. I don't. Just, no one. I don't know. No one treats each other differently, from what I can tell.
Yeah, so I don't, it's, tell me if I'm misunderstanding, but it's almost like not a point where it's seen as, I don't want to say like special or unique that a particular area is inclusive. It's just kind of accepted. Like there's no real extra thought needed to give to it because it's accepted, if I'm understanding right.
That's kind of how it feels. Yeah, to me. Um, yeah, it's like you could be queer or not. You know, hold this mix up, like play the game. And I guess that's a cool thing. I do like that, honestly. I like that there's not too big of a point being put on it. It's just like, yeah, if you can play the game, you can hang.
Yeah, that's
That's what
awesome.
matters.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I I like the feeling of it being normalized, where it's not really something special. It's just, yeah, you know.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like, as, you know, a a person actively transitioning, it's like I don't, I appreciate when people are supportive, but also it's like I kind of wish, as someone who lives it, that it's just kind of like, okay, cool, and you just move on, like it's not this big special thing, so it's nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's fun. Normal is a weird word
yeah.
because of
I
how it's
agree.
used, but it's nice when it's like, cool, and then you move on.
You move on. Yeah, it's like, cool, great. Want to run the set? Yeah, let's play.
Want to eat the Elfelt 50/50? Go right ahead.
Like
Enjoy
that.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember when I first started coming to Tatakai Tuesday, before I was like working as staff and stuff, and just like meeting new friends. And there were times I'd come and I'd have like makeup on and be in like kind of crazy outfits and stuff, and they just, uh, you know, people wouldn't really bat an eye. You'd sit down and play the set. Like, you want to come get a drink after? You'd be like, yeah, sure, let's go. And that was that.
It's awesome. Yeah. Do you, I don't know if,
Yeah.
given everything you've said, I don't know if special advice is the right word, but say, someone is coming to visit to Japan. Do you have any like recommendations for any, good neighborhoods if they want to check out a queer space or anything worth checking out in your experience?
Yeah, yeah, I do. So Nichome is kind of the canned answer for queer area of Tokyo. It's in Shinjuku, and that's where a lot of the queer nightlife is. A lot of gay clubs. Um, and it's not really my area. I used to go there a lot, but I don't love that scene necessarily, not for me. So I liked to recommend, I mentioned it earlier, Koenji. Koenji has a really, really great queer scene. Um, they are much like it's more of a politically queer thing going on over there, where they have spaces like shared art spaces and workshops on mutual aid and organizing protests. And I think that what they're doing is really, really cool. And there's so many great people out there running it. And they collaborate together sometimes, or they operate in other places. But there's another group called Queer for Fear, and that is a they do movie nights. They'll like rent out a bar and play horror movies, and it's like a just queer get together, drink some beers, watch Nightmare on Elm Street, watch Scream. It's like a great time. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. That's really sick.
Yeah, that's more my speed than the club stuff. But like if you're into the club stuff, then yeah, go to Nichome, have fun. I think that that's a cool space to go, and it's cool to experience.
Like looking forward, what are both your goals as a player in the FGC and then your goals as the person running Strive for Tatakai Tuesday? What would you love to see in the future?
As a player, I'm not sure I see myself competing so much anymore. Although I am signed up for Evo, for Strive, and for Vampire Savior, and I'd love to do well. But I think finding more joy on the organization part, and creating those spaces. So for my goals, I want to set up someone to take over for Tatakai at some point for what I'm doing, because I don't think I'm going to be in Tokyo for a whole much longer or for too much longer. And I don't think that will Tatakai will continue to run Strive if I'm not there. So I'd like to set up somebody who's a regular, who knows the scene and knows the people to keep it running after I move on to something else. Um, and then I don't know, keep going to events wherever I am, support it.
Sweet. Is there anything in particular you'd like people to know if, say, they're coming in from wherever in the world and they want to attend a Tatakai Tuesday or check out the FGC in Tokyo? Is there any particular recommendations you'd give to them?
Yeah, go to Tatakai Tuesday. It's fun and it's free. So just show up and start playing. I don't figure out what game, or even if you just don't play fighting games, you're interested in it. You can just show up and like try it. I'm sure someone will be there who'll try to teach you. Uh, People just get so stoked when a new person wants to play their game that you know they get like rabid. They're like, yeah, here's how you do a combo. Let me teach you. Here's your inputs. Here's this. Here's that. So yeah, just show up even if you don't play anything, and someone will teach you how to play something. Could be some random game no one's heard of, but someone will teach you to play something. But other than that, I would recommend going to the arcades. Um, I think the arcade scene in Japan is like so cool, and it's kind of at a threat of dying out. Like we're seeing arcades closing. TRF and Nakano closed recently. Acho and Osaka closed recently. Um, and if you go into some of those arcades on like a weeknight, when there's no specific events, a lot of times you'll see it, a lot of areas where there's no one playing any games. And so those arcades need people to show up and play if you want to keep them around. And I would love to keep them around. So I think, even if you don't play any old classic games like that, go out of your comfort zone, bring your friends, hang out the arcade for a few hours. And then if you do know what games you like, do some research, find out who's hosting them, where they're being hosted, and go to those. Support your arcades.
Yeah,
Support my arcades.
absolutely. I can fully vouch just from my limited experience visiting for both. Tatakai was absolutely incredible. So many sick people, met so many awesome people. All the fighting games were so cool to see live, and it's such an awesome space. And yeah, the arcades are like they're like nothing I've ever really experienced before. It's so cool getting to go in. I was a big rhythm game fan, so I would, go in, find whatever rhythm game might be in there, whether it's like you know, Gitadora or
Sound Voltex
oh
or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Taiko no
yeah.
Tatsujin.
Exactly. Yeah, just go crazy on those. It was always so
Yeah,
fun.
there's all
So
sorts of stuff.
it's just a good time. It's awesome. It's so fun.
Yeah, the arcade scene is great. So go out and support it. Keep it around. Keep it great for a long time. That's my recommendation.
Hell yes. Best recommendation I think one can give. That's awesome. In closing, where can people find you and where can people find out more about Tatakai Tuesday?
So I run all the Tatakai stuff for Guilty Gear through my Twitter, and that is Mothman FGC, capital M, capital FGC, and then all one word. We also had a Tatakai Tuesday Twitter account. It's just at Tatakai Tuesday, one word, capital T for both of them. And they do official updates on there. Majin Obama posts updates. Everyone who runs a game at Tatakai Tuesday kind of posts their own updates for each ones, and then a lot of that gets consolidated on the official page. So that's a good place to find me for any of that. You can also we have a Discord. We have a Tatakai Tuesday Guilty Gear Strive Discord. You can find that linked through my Twitch. At the bottom, I have all of the links on Twitch there. And my Twitch is also just Mothman FGC, I think. So those are the places to best find out information about Tatakai Tuesday.
Fantastic. And any shout outs you want to give, whether that's to, events, arcades, people, anything. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah. So of course the arcades. Go support arcades. Shout all of them out. Cube, Mikado, Ace. If you're in Los Angeles, I want to shout out. They're called HOV, Hands On Victory. It's a local that's being held out of Game Realms. It's a local shop in Burbank that I've been going to since they opened. And one of my childhood friends is running Guilty Gear at HOV. He's been putting a ton of work into it, so I want to shout him out. If you're in Los Angeles, go to an HOV event while they're holding them. Go support Game Realms. It's a great shop for classic games. Um, and just a little extra tuck in. My band in Los Angeles is still performing without me. Go see them live if you're there. They're called Rec Effect. RECAFFECT. Find us on Spotify.
That is fucking awesome. I'll definitely check them out. That's so sick. And thank you. Thank you for all your
Yeah.
time. I really appreciate doing this. I'd love to do more interviews like this. I mean, it was such a nice conversation being able to talk with you, and there's so many great things and so many different experiences that I love talking about. So I really appreciate you taking some time just to talk with me about all things fighting games, Tatakai Tuesday, and everything in between. So huge thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for organizing this. This was a lot of fun. I've done a few interviews in the past like this, and they're always pretty exciting. These are I appreciate you writing up all these questions. You had good, thoughtful questions, and it was a lot of fun. Hard to get all the thoughts out in a enclosed amount of time, and I don't know. Interviews are kind of tough, but this is a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much. I once again just thank you so much. This was an amazing time. And yeah, if I this lightly edited, but if anyone is going to be out there and you happen to find yourself in Tokyo, go to Tatakai Tuesday. Make sure you go. It's so cool. You got to go check it out. It's awesome. I had such a blast, and I can't wait till the next one I get to go to whenever I'm next in Tokyo. So definitely check it out.
Thanks so much. Appreciate that.